Hi, I am Michael Santos with Prison Professors, and I want to respond to some of the people who left comments here on this video I produced a couple of days ago about Michael Flynn. So I'm not going to play the video. I'm just going to read it. It's called Michael Flynn Loses the Appeal and Faces Prison. Okay. And I see there's been 200 people that have seen the video, so it's got some engagement. Really appreciate the engagement, by the way. But I definitely want to comment verbally to the people who are leaving the comments. So let's just go through it one by one. So here, I think you're missing a key piece from the ruling. The core of it is that Sullivan never actually made a ruling regarding the dismissal. The decision effectively bounces it back to Sullivan so that he can render a decision or approval. In essence, the decision says that all options are on the table for Flynn once Sullivan makes a decision. Okay, so here's the reality. What is the title of this video? Michael Flynn loses appeal and faces prison. Okay, go through all of these different comments that are coming here. And of course, I know there's a lot of trolls, and I appreciate the trolls. Really, I do. I think you guys have a lot to offer, particularly showing us your viewpoint, and I want to just respond to them because I respect everybody's viewpoint. But let's again pay attention to the title and the message in the video. Michael Flynn loses appeal and faces prison. That does not mean I am advocating for him to go to prison. That does not mean that he is going to prison. That does not mean that he's not going to prison. It means that he is facing prison. And why is that? Well, let's explore. Here's the situation, as we said before, once again. Number one, the Department of Justice brought an indictment against the former general. Number one, that's step one. I think we can all agree on that. It doesn't mean that they should have brought an indictment. It doesn't argue that he's not guilty. It doesn't argue that he's guilty. It means that they brought an indictment against him. Okay? That's step one. Step two, he pleaded guilty. What does that mean when you plead guilty? It means that you go to court, you hold your hand up, you say, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help me God. You put your hand on the Bible and you do all those things under oath, correct? That is something that has to happen before somebody can give a guilty plea. Whether he rightfully did it, he wrongfully did it, the fact is that he went to court and he told a federal judge that he committed a crime. And then there was a sentencing hearing, and a lot of hoopla followed that sentencing hearing. And he had a deal to avoid prison, and then he said some things that ticked off the judge, and the proceeding dragged on. And then the Attorney General, miraculously, the first time in history, dropped the charges against him. Was it just? Was it unjust? I don't know. And frankly, I don't care. What I do care about is America incarcerates far too many people, and it sends people to prison far too long, but it is an extremely rare day when both the Department of Justice and the defendant lose. And that was the case here. Why? Because after the Attorney General put a motion forward to dismiss the case, the judge didn't go along with it. And when the judge didn't go along with it, what happened? The Department of Justice went to the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals and asked a 3-judge panel to dismiss it, which they did, 2-1. 2 judges said, yes, dismiss the case. And if that decision would have stood, well, the prosecution would have been over against Michael Flynn. But that's not what happened. What happened is then Judge Sullivan had had Judge Gleason from the Eastern District of New York file a brief and argue why a great injustice was done. Did I say an injustice was done? No. Judge Gleason said it, and Judge Sullivan said it. And so it went back to what's called an en banc hearing, meaning every judge on the D.C. Circuit Court has listened to the arguments, and they voted 8-2 to reverse the panel, the 2 judges before that said it should be dismissed. The entire court said, no, let it go back to Sullivan. It's not an emergency. Let it go back to Sullivan. Let him decide what to do. Now, that's just a fact. If they would have affirmed the previous decision, then guess what? He would not be facing prison. But I got news for you. Today, he still has anxiety in his stomach. Do you know why? because it's going back to the district court and he potentially faces prison. And I can assure you that our nation's prison system is filled with tens of thousands of people that should not be there. But the Department of Justice is not filing motions on their behalf. It is a wretched system of mass incarceration, and it is one that our team at Prison Professors fights valiantly to try and raise awareness and change this system so that more people can get a pathway to a better outcome. And that is the message of the preceding video. So I am simply responding to these great comments that I have received of people arguing that Michael Flynn shouldn't be there and he's not facing prison at all. I can't say the F up, but wake up. He's facing prison. Get real. He's paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees. He is not sleeping at night. He is hoping, just like Roger Stone hoped, gee, I hope the president commutes my sentence, or better yet, pardons me. And you know what? He very well may. The president may decide to issue a pardon and spare General Flynn the indignity of our nation's prison system and our nation's commitment to mass incarceration. But as of today, which is September the 2nd, 2020, I don't care how many paragraphs you write in the comments below, he's facing prison. Own it. That's it.